patience, and once again, we must apologize for the problems in this tournament. I hope you have enjoyed it regardless. Here's hoping that we can nail down and iron out some of those issues with SHOUTcraft 3, but right now let's focus on what matters, which is this. And I bring you some fantastic StarCraft action. This is a best-of-7 series for the finals of the SHOUTcraft Invitational #2, and our first contestant coming in, beating an incredibly powerful Zerg player in the form of Morrow, who saw that one coming, proving once again that his win against Idra was no fluke whatsoever. It is Sixjax.
Sixjax DDE.
So good, we had to say it twice, folks. Sixjax DDE. We could say it 6 times, that would be overkill, I feel. In the meantime, his opponent, a mighty German player, having defeated Nurcio, knocking the favorite out of the tournament immediately. Can you believe that? And also a wonderful game against Sheth, where he also won an absolutely stellar victory. Now in the finals, it is the one and only
Ultimate Attack Socke.
He is to the northeast of this particular map, and he is playing Protoss in the red trunks.
And already DDE opening up with Refinery first before the barracks. And no, I am not tired. This is happening, and he will be throwing down a barracks very, very shortly here.
Tal'Darim.
Yeah, I mean, it's an interesting choice because he has a couple of options to follow this up with. You know, one of the options can be Cloak Banshees. I mean, getting it out nice and fast. He can also add on the Tech Lab and start Stim very early on. There's a lot of options that do follow from this. So I've never actually seen this, especially on Tal'Darim. There are other maps that it can work better, but Tal'Darim is a very large map, and he's investing a lot in gas, not minerals this early, which isn't very good for his economy at this stage of the game.
Yeah, Socke is actually scouting really late. Notice that. The fact that he hasn't started to scout at all. This is incredibly good right here for DDE. And DDE did open with this versus Morrow as well. But as you said, it is unusual to see this kind of opening versus Protoss. However, DDE's style does incorporate a lot of Hellions versus Protoss, and when he starts to dictate the pace of the game and dictate what units his opponent should be building, it tends to be a case of, well, you're Protoss, I would like you to build Zealots, if you don't mind. So DDE will politely suggest to his opponent, possibly with the use of Hypnosis, but I wouldn't want to accuse him of cheating or anything along those lines. It could be sorcery, who knows, but whatever the case, he forces a lot of Zealots and then punishes it with Blue Flame Hellions, and this kind of opening could be fantastic.
And this is really interesting. I've never seen this opening. It looks like he's forgotten Socke's race and he thinks he's playing against Zerg, but this doesn't make too much sense. I haven't really seen this before, and I've seen a lot of StarCraft 2, trust me. And it looks like he's just going to switch this up now, unless he starts building Marines, which could be an interesting dynamic here. No, he is going to turn it over and switch this up. What he may very well do is understand that, you know, Socke is going to go for fast expansion here. He's only got one gateway. He's only going to have a few units out, and if he does go for sentries and zealots, they are not going to be able to chase down Hellions whatsoever. They'll just run by, they'll take the damage from the Stalker and just annihilate all the probes.
Yes, that's interesting. There is a Stalker coming out. That said, you've got to bear in mind the following. It does take a while for a Stalker to actually kill a target like this. It's not an armored target, and the Hellion can take quite a few hits before going down, and of course has a speed advantage. Good micro against Socke right here could prove to be absolutely devastating, and Socke is not building a second Stalker. He doesn't feel the need to do that. He's absolutely not expecting this opening, and who the hell would? This is incredibly unusual.
But now he's seen one Hellion, and that is hurting him more than it's helping him, because he doesn't know what's going on. He doesn't know that he has no idea what's going on.
Oh wow, the Stalker's moving out of position. This could be perfect for DDE, who slips past entirely. A third one going in. This is a perfect opening for DDE, and this is absolutely undefended.
And nothing. Well, he will be able to warp in 3 Stalkers immediately to help deal with it. Will they be able to get in there to do enough damage in time?
Yeah, he's going to be quick about this one right now. If he was just a little bit quicker, if he hadn't focused maybe on that one probe, he could have done more damage, but he's still doing good damage regardless of this brilliant micromanagement right now. More probes being taken out, huge economic damage inflicted, and he's going to get out of there with only one Hellion. He's going for it again. He's coming around the side. Another shot going on right there, and he might even take another probe for free before he leaves. He refuses to leave. believe the Stalkers have no idea what they're doing. They're flouncing around like drunken fools, and huge amounts of economic damage. 13 workers killed to open up, and now a disparity of 14 to 25. What a fantastic, genius opening right there from DDE.
Absolutely fantastic, and he is following it up with a Marauder. He's getting the concussive shells too. He'll want to throw down 2, maybe 3 bunkers to follow this up, and he's using some SCVs to try and get us around. If he manages to do that, could be incredible. But no, slips up a little bit, and we'll just send them to mine. 3 Stalkers trying to go to town on the 1. I mean, 3 Hellions are trying to go
Brilliant
to work
micro
on this.
as well, pulling it back from the verge of death right here. Doesn't get the good... Oh, there you go. There's the target fire. Now, this is interesting. It's what we see from DDE all the time. Catch your opponent off balance, force him to think in a particular way, and then dictate the pace of the game, dictate what units will be built. And what units are being built, Apollo?
Stalkers.
And what units are being built by DDE?
Marauders here, sir.
Exactly, yes, there you go. So it might work out. That said, the pace of the Marauder building is not as large as I would like, so I have to wonder just how effective this kind of push will be.
And he's switching over to Factory, and Tech Lab is going to start adding on maybe Blue Flame, continue with that, and 3 Hellions are even going in. Socke deciding to go attack. He is pulling back probes, though, and is walled off.
It's walled off. He takes 1 for free. He's not going to be able to make his way through there, but he shouldn't lose any Hellions either. The aggression will be met by some vicious, vicious concussive shelling right here. He doesn't manage to grab that one. Socke gets away quite rapidly, and I have no idea if Socke will really want to play this game that DDE is trying to force him to play at the moment.
And despite having every single Chronobus being used on the Nexus, he's still down 28 to 33 plus double sets of mules.
Oh, yeah.
It's not looking at all good for him now, and we have siege tanks in the making too. And what DDE will want to do to follow this up is to siege basically underneath that natural Nexus. It's very easy to walk up there and just to start sieging, getting units onto that natural, and he will definitely be looking at that for very, very shortly with Stim as well.
Yeah, the problem is that he doesn't have a lot of scouting information right now. He has no idea about, say, this robotics facility. So if it's going to be heavy tanks, we could see some Immortals, and of course we could see him just transitioning into Colossus, which would give him all sorts of great range advantages. And DDE wants to dictate it. Here we go. There's the robotics bay, but I don't think Socke is going to let him. And that's the mistake that players have made against DDE up until this point. They've played DDE's game and not their own game.
And DDE now is he's building a Raven, has switched up the factory, and is not getting siege mode, surprisingly.
Interesting.
And he has added on a reactor to that factory now, and continuing with Stim, and it looks like he'll probably poke around once Stim is done. And the siege tank choice is a little bit interesting, though, because he hasn't got siege mode. He'll just use it for the DPS that it can now have.
Yeah, man, he's only got 1 of them. I mean, it doesn't make a huge difference, but he's mixing up his force, and I think trying to keep Socke guessing, perhaps. Once Socke moves in this observer, he's going to spot a siege tank and think, well, what on earth is going on right here? It's not deployed, and he will move into the base and see what's going on. This Raven is an interesting choice, and actually, it could help him spot this observer. That said, I don't think the observer's going to move into range of it, so it doesn't really matter all that much. DDE looking to try and take his 3rd base in the meantime.
Yeah, killing the Structural Rocks. We'll try to place one down shortly. The Raven is building up enough energy for a point defense drone, which will help out a lot against the Stalkers. Though I'm getting a little bit worried for DDE, though. The Colossus is in production, Thermal Lance as well. And we talked about a lot of these timing attacks. He can't really do a timing attack if he doesn't know what's going on at all.
Yes, he has little information.
Yeah.
It's a real problem for him. That said, his force is quite Marauder heavy, which means he's a bit more resilient to Colossus than you would expect.
And he did stem a lot of Marines there, actually. More than probably needed to pick off that observer, but he does have 2 medivacs in the making now. Well, that have popped out even. And here comes the push with +1 attack, very, very close to finishing. Combat shields is done. We have enough energy for a point defense drone. He's most definitely going to be looking to try to do a lot of damage here.
And he can, honestly. The majority of his Socke's forces are actually Stalker-based. So that observer moves in, it spots the incoming push. The extended thermal lance may not be complete when this push actually hits. So that's very concerning. The weapon upgrade certainly will not be. This is kind of time to go in with infantry weapon, but he's going a little bit early, deliberately. He has no choice. He can't wait for this range upgrade. This push will be powerful. Let's see how good this point defense drone ends up being, assuming he decides to go for that. And not, there you go. There's the PDD, and Socke immediately backing off. Good force field placement, able to divide that force in 2. However, army supply is 62 to 39 right now.
And +1 attack finishes right now, and all these Zealots will go down instantly, and a big chunky Protoss army is left.
Oh my, and I honestly think DDE can break this very, very easily if he's able to bring the Colossus down. It's so very close, but he can smash through. He has the Marauder count. One goes down. Socke is now sitting on a single Colossus' defense. These Warpins might end up getting shot to pieces before they even go in. Spread damage right now for DDE, who is raining it down on the Zealots, and he may be forced back here, but still, he's done a lot of damage in the process. And there we go. He will make his stand. He believes he can do it. And down go the shields on that Colossus. Here's the stim. The Colossus is down. And that is all the defense that Socke really has right now. GG. What a great start right here for DDE.